Hello everyone, thank you for watching. My name is Nefertiti and you can find my information in the description box below. I am a wellness coach and I offer distance coaching and counseling services and yoga, Pilates, plant-based nutrition, astrology. I also read oracle cards and angel numbers, and I am an intuitive empath, right? So today's video is going to cover the energy for the week beginning October 28th through Sunday, what is that? Sunday, November 3rd. So this is Scorpio season, right? So we're going deep. Scorpio is that do or die energy, right? This is where things start to change, start to shift. We're going deep into our subconscious mind. Things are either going to grow or they're going to decay. So also over the past week, we've had a lot of G1, G2 solar storms hitting the planet. That began around the 24th. And this creates an influx of cosmic energy coming to the planet, which affects us physically and emotionally. So we could have seen ascension symptoms ramping up, headaches, fatigue, maybe changes in appetite, changes in menstrual cycle, possibly some sleep disruption, right? But emotionally, this is gonna start to, again, bring up all of that slush. I call it emotional slush. All of the things that we feel guilty about, all of the things that have happened that have caused us to have some trauma in our energetic field, these things are coming up for review, examination, integration, and release. And we have to remember that when these energy shifts, these high amounts of energy are coming to the planet, it's important to practice extreme self-care, drinking more water, spending time in nature, and resting when you need it. All right, so we've still got a lot of energy coming to the planet because we're right in the galactic activation portal too. We just came off of that Scorpio new moon, and we have a very highly energetically charged time right now. We've got Mercury going retrograde later on this week. I'll talk about that in a moment. But during this time of year, the veil between the two worlds is naturally thinner. So we could be having more lucid dreams, perhaps more psychic experiences, right? And remember that these are normal and natural. We've been led to believe that they're weird, they're strange, and that anybody that talks about this kind of shit is crazy and woo-woo. But this is a normal, natural part of our life that we have been conditioned to believe is not real. For the gain and benefit of other entities and beings. We've been dumbed down by the food, by the media, by the pollution. I could go on and on. I'm going to not digress, but you get the point, right? This is something that we should, as light workers, light warriors, be exploring deeply. Our psychic abilities, our way of interpreting subtle energy. This should go without saying at this point. So let's talk about the astrology this week. On the 28th, today, the sun is opposing Uranus. Now, Uranus was also opposing the new moon, so this is going to bring the unexpected, the exciting. Uranus is the change agent, the awakener, right? So let's be flexible and adaptable this week. This energy can also make you feel nervous, a little tense for no apparent reason, but just be mindful that this is a transit. It will pass, but whatever Uranus is bringing to your awareness, work with it, right? This doesn't have to necessarily be a negative thing, but Uranus is a wild card. So whatever comes your way, just know that you are always ready for it. It might throw you a little bit. You'll have a wobble possibly, but you will be okay, all right? We've also got Mars quincunx Neptune. So this is also an energy that could have us a little bit fearful with making decisions because Mars is not doing his greatest right now in Libra. He's at his fall. Mars is a kind of let's go ahead and make it happen, let's do it energy. Libra's kind of indecisive, wanting to weigh all the options, take your time. So these are very conflicting energies. So don't let this transit immobilize you, right? We know that fear is not real, right? We're the ones that give fear power. And a lot of things that we fear don't even happen. What is it, like over 90% of the things that we fear are not even justified to be feared. I love that quote from T.D. Jakes. He said, if you've got a problem that man or money can solve, then you ain't got no problem, all right? So let's just let these things pass. And this is also an energy where you want to avoid getting drunk or too wasted, right? Because Neptune is that energy of drug abuse and just wanting to escape reality, okay? Now on the 30th, we have Mercury conjunct Venus. So this is a good energy for love, communication in love, great for negotiations and increasing cash flow. But let's be mindful not to sign any contracts if possible, because we've got Mercury going retrograde the very next day. So on October 31st, we've got a lot going on. It's Halloween, of course, and Samhain, if that's something you celebrate, which is the Celtic pagan festival for harvest, rituals, and all that fun stuff. This is also the beginning of Dia de los Muertos, where families gather together to pray for their friends and other family members that have passed on, to help them along their spiritual journey. But on October 31st as well, we have Mercury going retrograde until November 20th in Scorpio. It could be kind of a vulnerable transit because it is Scorpio, and Mercury will be in Scorpio for 2.5 months. So with Mercury retrograde, we focus on all the rewords, right? Rethinking, redoing, restructuring, rescheduling, right? All of those rewords. And this is not the best time to sign contracts, to buy big ticket purchase items, so things like over a couple $100. And this is also not the best time to buy electronics, because Mercury rules electronics. So if you've got to buy a new car or a new computer, I always say you do what you got to do, right? We have to live our lives. Mercury goes retrograde about 3 or 4 times a year, so we can't stop everything that we're doing. But if you can postpone that purchase for 3 weeks, you would be better off. But if you can't, just make sure that you're getting warranties, guarantees, make sure that you're reading everything. If you have to sign contracts, reread everything, maybe get a second set of eyes, and be mindful that things might change when Mercury starts to go direct, okay? So this is also applies to travel plans as well, right? Mercury rules transportation. So make sure that you're leaving a little bit earlier. Make sure that you have your paper tickets if you're traveling, and just check everything, right? That's all we can do. So this particular Mercury retrograde is going to put a lot of emphasis on intimacy, emotions, finances, sex, psychology, all of those things that are Scorpio ruled. This is a water sign, so this is going to trigger some emotional release, I believe. Release, that's a reword, right? So this is also a good time for research and sitting down with your partner and having a heart-to-heart, right? Getting to the deeper issues. What is it that we really want and expect from one another? These are important conversations to have with your significant other. A lot of times we assume that other people know what we need. And I tell my clients, that's a very shitty thing to do. You don't want to assume people know what you need. You need to ask for what you want, tell people what you need, and they have a right to say no. Because we're all here trying to learn, trying to grow. And a lot of the learning that we do is through our interpersonal relationships. So the more communication you can have and the more truthfulness that you can have in your exchanges, the better off you'll be. The faster you'll learn these lessons, and you can grow and move past them and not repeat them, right? So on November 1st, we have Venus moving into Sagittarius. So Venus is the planet of money and all of those things we love and value. So if you're a Sagittarius like me, you're going to be looking extra beautiful and desirable during this transit. This is about taking romantic adventures and having a straightforward approach to love. That has always been my approach. It's gotten me into a lot of trouble, but I can't do anything but be who I am, right? And truth and honesty in your connections. So I've already mentioned that earlier, especially with the Scorpio energy. So this is putting up more emphasis on that truthful exchange in your interpersonal relationships. This could also bring about money expansion, Sagittarius, but be mindful of overspending and overindulging, because Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius and Jupiter is in Sagittarius, so that energy is kind of amplified, right? So be mindful, moderation in all things. On November 2nd, we have daylight savings time ending. So this is the fall back energy, right? So you spring forward, you fall back. All right, so I will move on now to the Oracle card. Let's see what our angels and ancestors have to say to us this week. And I've really been enjoying pulling this card in real time. That's what I do during my readings anyway. So let's see. Thank you, God, Goddess, angels and guides, angels, ancestors. What do we need to know? What do we need to know for this week? And this card popped right out. The Warrior card. The Warrior card. Yes. Be fearless and stand strong. I really like this card because this is about really standing in your personal truths. This is also about really being honest with yourself as far as the amount of effort that you're putting forth into your work, into your life, into your purpose. And if you notice in this card, the warrior is surrounded by darkness. So we have to learn how to do things afraid, stepping out of our comfort zone. So as a lot of us are starting to wake up, and many of us have been on this ascension journey for a long time, we kind of know some of the pitfalls, some of the challenges that we're going to have as we continue on this journey. And there is no going back once you start. So sometimes you're surrounded by that darkness. You don't know what to do. And that's where your personal truths come in. That's where your spiritual practices are going to benefit you the most. Because when you practice something every single day, you avoid getting rusty at it. So when that darkness comes, when those times of trial and testing come, because they're going to come, you will have these inner truths to stand on, to keep you strong, to show you the way, the path forward. That does not imply that it will be easy, right? Nobody told us this path would be easy. I believe that anybody that's incarnated at this time knew that there would be lots of challenges, lots of things to overcome in this life, lots of temptations, lots of things to distract you off of your path. But there is always a way forward, and it may be that you have to make that way forward yourself. So don't be afraid of the dark. Don't be afraid of being alone. Don't be afraid of standing up for yourself, fighting energetically, spiritually for what you believe in, because that is how we are being, I'll use the Christic philosophic term, a testimony to other people. People need to see testimonies walked out. We've heard enough of what people say to us. So let's move on to the angel number. The angel number that came up this week was 619, and this is about the focus on that inner spirituality and the most suited career or hobby being presented to you. I know a lot of us ascension coaches have talked about this, that when we made the shift out of our so-called 3D career into this more spiritual entrepreneurship style of being and earning a living, it was very scary, because there is a time in there where you are kind of vacillating back and forth. You're not really sure where you're headed, but you know that you can't go back to where you came from, right? You're in that void space. And this is an indication, this number, that the most suited career, hobby, pastime, whatever it is that you're looking to do to tap into those creative energies, which in turn manifests abundance for you. Whatever it is that you're looking to do, that opportunity is going to present itself to you. But we have to let go of the old to make room for the new. We can't be afraid and hang on to what is already dead. right? What is no longer going to serve us in a positive way. Careers, relationships, habits, ways of living and being and doing. We have to be willing to let those things go to bring in that new energy, because we can't put those two things in the same space if they are not energetically resonating with each other, right? This is also a prompt when we see this number to ask the angels for guidance and how to take the next steps. Not only do we need to know the next steps, but we need to know how to take the next steps so we're not wasting any time, right? Maybe we have to go through certain things to learn lessons, but if we ask the angels for guidance and we get it, follow those steps. Even if it seems nonsensical, because most likely it will, but just follow those steps and see where it takes you. That is true faith, right? Believing in the unseen. So let's move on to the crystal. And the crystal that came up, the stone that came up, was turquoise. And turquoise is a highly protective stone, especially protective against theft, loss, and physical attack. And it's great for leadership support, especially in the workplace. If you start somewhere and you're coming in as a manager or some sort of leader, turquoise can help you feel more supported in your role. This is great for eliminating writer's block and other forms of suppressed self-expression. This is also great, turquoise, for overcoming exhaustion, panic, attacks, and it's great for eye and brain health as well. Turquoise is good for balancing the right and left hemispheres. It's also great for neck problems too. If you've got tension in your neck, which is one of the ascension symptoms, turquoise can help with that. And it's a purification and purging stone. So as we are in this Scorpio season, it is a time of purification and release. And turquoise will help to align the meridians as well. We know that turquoise was used by the Native Americans and the Egyptians for protection and spiritual insight, really bringing those downloads in and unpacking them so that they can communicate them to the people, right? So I hope this video was helpful for you. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I have created a lot of content, so look forward to more videos. Have a wonderful week. I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.